When it comes to liver, there is very little information about how it is important and how we have to keep it healthy.
20 to 25% of patients with fatty liver disease will end up with liver failure over a period of time. There is no organ in the body which does as many functions as the liver does.
Are there any habits in specific that are going to affect liver one or other time?
So nothing is going to protect your liver when you take alcohol.
Every whey protein dangerous or not useful at all?
Hundreds and hundreds of whey protein preparations available, hundreds and hundreds of muscle building preparations available in the market today. Nothing is tested, nothing is validated, and there are also scientific papers today which has been published. Mobile phone, if it breaks off, I'm sure you can get another one. If you hit your car and gets damaged, you can get another one. Still, you have an insurance on it. Still, annually you go for an annual health check for your car, oil, this, that, whatever, everything's being checked. Detoxification of colon, detoxification of the kidneys, detoxification of the intestines, and now I've seen enough of videos on detoxification of the liver. The liver is the biggest detoxifying agent in the body. We have to lead a healthy life. If health is lost, something is lost.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vivek, for coming here and sparing your time to give us many insights, and I'm sure that's going to be very insightful for us. I want to straight away say this one particular thing that I've heard from another doctor or somewhere in the podcast saying that there are three main organs that are important: brain, gut, and liver. So a lot of reels or videos that we keep hearing about how to keep our gut healthy and how to keep up with the brain and how to encourage it to, have a personal growth concept. But when it comes to liver, there is very little information about how it is important and how we have to keep it healthy. So what are your thoughts on it and how do you think we can?
First thing is, of course, thanks for having me, and it's always a joy to share knowledge, and I truly believe knowledge is power, and I truly believe also that awareness is a key to keep one healthy, because health is not on anyone's radar, right? Until we get unwell or our family members get unwell.
Yeah.
How many of us have a health insurance? How many of us go for a master health checks every year? Very few.
Yeah.
Right. But it's changing, but I believe with the population which we have, I think it should change at a more rapid speed. Only then the future generation is going to be saved. So thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
It's
so
my
I can
pleasure. Thank you.
share a few things. Regarding your first question, I think I've got a slightly different view on that. Number one is I feel there are 5 main organs and not 3 main organs.
Okay.
Right? One is the brain. Second is the heart. 3 is the lungs. 4 is the liver. 5 is the kidneys. Okay. I believe rest all is ancillary.
So where is gut comes in?
Of course, they are all organs. They are all organs, but they are the 5 important organs, because you can make someone live even after removing the entire gut. Of course, they will need a new gut. They will have complications. Okay, but you can't remove any of these other organs which I mentioned, and people cannot survive. Right? So gut is an auxiliary organ as far as I'm concerned. Right? Because everything that is metabolized or everything that is mixed in the guts, which is churned down in the guts, the food which we eat, has to go through the liver. And the liver takes control of all these things. So there are enough number of people with small guts, who had some surgeries or the other, guts have been removed, okay, but still will survive and lead a normal life. Right? Gut is important. I think there are lots of in vogue is the gut health and gut biome and antibiomes and probiotics, prebiotics. So many things are there. But I believe the 5 main organs which I said are important. Right? The liver is a fascinating organ. Of course, not that I'm a liver surgeon, I'm a liver specialist. You ask the neurosurgeon, I'm sure he's going to say the brain is amazing.
Brain is most important.
The cardiologist is going to say the
heart is going to be the most important.
amazing.
Yeah.
But if you see, there is no organ in the body which does as many functions as the liver does.
Okay.
Right? What does the heart do? The
Pumps the
heart
blood.
pumps blood.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
What does the lung do? The lung exchanges gas. It takes out all the carbon dioxide
Turns it
and
into.
gets the oxygen into the blood. That's all it does. What does the kidney do? The kidney filters all the unnecessary stuff and passes out as urine. Okay. But the liver, as far as we know, okay, does about 500 different types of functions.
500.
500.
Okay.
It's a massive factory. Okay, you just imagine a factory. There is a security, right? There is a production unit, there is a manufacturing unit, there is a storage unit, so on and
Okay.
so forth. So the liver you can fit all the functions of the liver into any of these verticals, right? So what are the few functions, important functions which it does? It prevents infection.
Okay.
Okay, so that is why when someone's liver is diseased, they're prone for more infections. So how does it prevent infection? Is when infection gets in, it gets circulated in the blood, and all the blood in the body has to go through the liver. And when it goes through the liver, it filters out all the bacteria and viruses and fungi and whatnot. Of course, some escape and some do cause infections, but predominantly we lead a healthy life because it filters a lot of stuff. Number one, right? Number two is it produces a lot of stuff. It produces vitamins, which are very important. It produces glucose, which is very important, right? It produces so many chemicals, which is important for digestion and for us to lead a normal life. So production, it's a huge production factory.
Okay.
Say, for example, I'm sure you've known people starve for 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. How do they survive? They survive because the liver takes care of all the metabolic needs of the body. And how does it do that? One, it produces lots of stuff, and also it stores lots of stuff.
Okay.
The food which we eat, everything gets stored. I mean, of course, no, I wouldn't say everything gets stored, but what the important chemicals, the minerals, the vitamins, all get stored in the liver.
I didn't know that. I thought it's a stomach kind of,
Oh, stomach is your wet grinder. It's a mixie.
Okay.
It just churns everything. Of course, it produces some acid. It churns everything and sends it down to the
Okay. Liver.
intestines.
Okay.
It goes to
Yeah.
the intestine. It gets more digested down, broken down in the intestines,
Okay.
right? It broken down into basic elements.
Okay.
And the blood from the stomach and the intestine gets absorbed back into the system, and the blood goes into the liver.
Okay.
And when the blood goes into the liver has got some amazing mechanisms where it filters out what is necessary. Okay. And it also puts back into the intestines what is not necessary so that it goes out into your feces or stools. Right. So it does a lot of interesting stuff it does. So for another most important thing which it does is help in coagulation, bleeding. We meet with an accident, we cut ourselves with a knife or an accident happens, bleeding will stop in 3 to 4 minutes. Why would it stop? Because the liver produces important clotting factors. So when
Okay.
someone's liver is diseased, clotting factors are not produced and they will bleed, right? It produces bile. Bile is so important for digestion of food and metabolism of food, right? So I can just go on and on and on about the liver. There's so many functions which we know, and I'm sure there are enough number of functions which we do not know
Yeah.
what the liver does. So it's quite an amazing organ. The other two most important things about the organ is it will repair itself. Okay, no other organ in the body
Does
will
that.
repair itself.
Yeah.
All right, you get a heart attack. All right, so what happens in a heart attack is blood flow to one part of the muscle is blocked, or the heart muscle is blocked. Okay, so of course, if it's identified early, we can restore that blood flow. If not, what happens is a small patch happens in that part of the area where the blood flow is stopped, okay, and it infarcts. So it's kind of a dead muscle there, right? It will never recover itself fully,
Sure.
right? But the liver, for example, someone's drinking alcohol on a regular basis, right? And the blood test is all they all go off, and then you stop alcohol, what happens is the liver will repair itself and the blood test will come back to normal.
Okay.
Okay, this no other organ will do.
Do that.
Repairing itself, no other organ will do. The third most important thing is regeneration.
Okay.
Okay, when regeneration means growth of something. The only two things which will grow, which you know, one, you cut your nails every month it grows.
Yeah.
You cut your hair every month it grows.
Yeah.
Okay, you cut your limbs, you cut your intestines, you cut your lungs, you cut your heart, nothing grows back. But the liver will grow back. The liver will grow back to 90% of its original size in about 3 weeks' time. How much ever you can. We only need 1/7 or 1/6 of the liver to lead a normal life. And that is the concept which you use in living donor liver transplants, where one liver is there and we divide the liver into half, or it sometimes divide the liver into 70% and 30%, and we take 70% away and give it to a patient who requires that liver, right? But this 30% will grow back to its normal size in about 3 weeks' time.
3 weeks.
In 3 weeks' time. In 3 weeks'
That's
time.
super fast. So I can keep giving.
No, you can't.
Okay.
You can
Just
only,
once.
You
Is
can only
it?
do it once.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Now, this is better than donating kidneys, or safer than donating kidneys, because there are two kidneys are there. You're going to give away one kidney and one that's lost. This kidney is going to function, but God forbid something happens, to this kidney, then the patient, the donor who donated a kidney would need a kidney transplant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it is important to understand that the liver has got these amazing functions: regeneration, repair capacity, and it's a resilient organ. Why I say resilient is, for example, you get a heart attack, right? The blood vessel slows down in your heart. You get chest pain. You go to the doctor, get an ECG done. They will find out heart attacks and do the treatment. You get chest infections, pneumonia, right? Straight away you'll have cough, and straight away you'll have fever and whatnot, right? But the liver will not show any signs or symptoms until 40-50% of the function is lost. Okay, because it's a huge organ. It takes a long time to get fully damaged. Okay, so over and over again in all my other videos and comments come and say, oh, I've been drinking for 15 years, I've been drinking for 20 years. Okay, of course every body is different. Okay, metabolism on each one is completely different. Say for example, jaundice is a sign that the liver is not working very well. Only when 50% of the function is lost. Until then, you'll never get to know that the liver is screwed up.
Okay.
Right.
Are there any signs that we can actually see?
Yeah. So the first thing, they're all vague signs though.
Okay.
Very vague signs, and we have to be quite aware and conscious of those signs. First thing is tiredness sets in. Because the metabolism is not great when the liver is not working very well.
You get tired very often.
Tiredness very often. Of course, not everyone who's getting tired has got liver disease, but the vice versa could be true.
So
right?
is it safe to say that, okay, I don't usually do much of a physical work,
Yeah.
so but I do get tired very often. So is that a sign?
That is a sign that something is not right in the body. The number two is, of course, the most common symptom is leg swelling. People come with leg swelling. They attribute it to, I've been standing for a long time, I've been traveling, so my feet was down for a long time. So all these things they would say, but leg swelling should not happen in a normal, healthy individual.
Never? Or like,
Well, it can happen, but the most common causes for leg swelling is, of course, a heart problem, a kidney problem, or a liver problem.
okay. All right. When you've mentioned a lot more information at one go, I have some questions to, just put a magnifying glass in, one particular topic here. So number one is when a person, we all know alcohol is something that will, hit the liver. But then are there any habits in specific that are going to affect liver one or other point of time? Is there anything?
Yes, apart from alcohol, the most common cause for liver disease in India is what we call fatty liver disease.
Okay.
Okay, and as the name indicates, fat in the liver. Okay, what happens to fat in the liver is over a period of time, again, it takes about 15 20 years for the fat to damage the liver fully. Okay, if people have, we've seen enough number of patients now where they go for an ultrasound scan or a master health checkup, they'll say, oh, grade 1 fatty liver, grade 2 fatty liver, grade 3 fatty liver, right? 20 to 25% of patients with fatty liver disease will end up with liver failure over a period of time. That's a significant number.
Okay.
There is also enough evidence, scientific evidence today to suggest that the risk of liver cancers is higher in patients with fatty liver disease
Okay.
than someone who's having a normal liver, right? Now, what is fatty liver disease? As I said, it's fat in the liver. Why does it happen? Two main reasons. We eat a lot of food and we don't exercise. Right? These are the two things. I mean, we Indians like carbohydrates, right? Yeah,
Sweets.
sweets and sugar
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Oil.
Late night eating. I come from Ananagar, and I tell everyone Ananagar is a big food court these days. I mean, come 8 p.m. in the evening, you will see any kind of food on the street up to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning,
Yeah.
right? So the food habits has gone for a toss, right? And predominantly youngsters who are not bothered about their own health.
Yeah.
So excessive food, less of exercise. If you can burn out all the food which you're eating, fantastic. But it's very difficult to burn out all the food which you're eating. We only need about 2,500 calories to function normally every day. But a plate of biryani will be about 700 calories or so. So it'll all add up, and we end up eating about 4,000 calories easily, easily.
So, how sure can we say that a person who is obese
Yeah.
would have a fatty liver?
Oh, 110%. Yeah.
Okay.
So I always say who has got a pot belly probably have got no, mostly they should have a fatty liver.
Okay.
So why would I say that is fat, of course, but what is a pot belly? What is obesity? That's fat beneath the skin. That's what's seen outside. Correct? We never get to see what is inside.
Yeah.
So the fat will get deposited everywhere, right? Including the blood vessels. That is why you get your heart attack, right? So the same fat also get deposited in there are coverings of the intestine called omentum. It gets deposited there. So in obese patients, you do a surgery. Normally it's paper thin, but it becomes very thick because fat gets deposited there, right? And of course, likewise, fat will get deposited in the liver also. So there is a 99.99% chance that someone who's obese will have fatty liver disease.
So, when you were saying food
Yep.
and alcohol, of course,
Yep.
these two are the main bad habits. You can, definitely say that it hurts your liver. But you've also mentioned one of the best habit that, to take care of it, that is to exercise.
Yeah.
Now, apart from that, we keep hearing a lot about detoxifying, like green juices,
Yeah.
kale, and, a lot, many informations we generally not sure of.
Yeah.
And also there are people, with the recent news about when you starve yourself for more than 24 hours, when you go into the fasting or
Yeah.
just have the juice fasting, your body kind of eats itself, like, the damaged cells. Or what is a safe way to actually know this is the right information, this is wrong, or what should we do to keep our liver healthy, basically?
So we need to understand that the human body is a wonderful, what to say, find, right? It actually does not need much. Okay, it just needs simple maneuvers to keep it healthy, right? I get upset when I see detoxification of colon, detoxification of the kidneys, detoxification of the intestines, And now I've seen enough of videos on detoxification of the liver, right? The liver is the biggest detoxifying agent in the body
By itself.
by itself. Why would you want to go and detoxify it?
Yeah.
You protect it, it'll take care of the rest. Okay, I think that is the most important message that people should get. Enough number of Tamil and English videos I see. Concoction of stuff and herbs, and so what it does is it gives a false sense of security to people. Oh yeah, that's
Just a
fine.
relief.
Oh, let me drink. Let me drink today heavily, and let me just go get this concoction of stuff tomorrow. I'll be okay.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
will not be okay, right? So there's lots of myths around alcohol and liver disease, right? People think that there are a few tablets which say, oh, we'll protect the liver. You take these tablets and then drink alcohol, your liver will be protected. You have a fatty meal and then drink alcohol, the absorption of alcohol
Hot water.
Sorry?
Hot water.
Hot water, milk. Some drink milk. Some eat fruits as a side dish for alcohol. They say it's got antioxidants, so the liver is protected. So so once it goes in the stomach, it's all one and the same.
Yeah.
It's going to get churned, and it's going to get absorbed, right? So nothing is going to protect your liver when you take alcohol. So we have to be careful. I don't think the liver should need to be detoxified. We take care of it well, eat healthily, exercise a bit, and be sensible about what we do. Anything in moderation is good, right? When it's just that we just do things overboard, it screws up the liver. The amount of alcohol that's being consumed these days is huge. The number of pubs that are coming up is enormous. Alcohol sales is just going up like crazy, and the number of youngsters who are getting addicted to alcohol, getting admitted with us is enormous, right? I mean, when I say this out and loud, people criticize me. They're saying, no, we've been doing this for a long time. My grandfather's been drinking for a long time. My father's been drinking for a long time. Nothing happens to us. It will happen at some point, unfortunately. I sincerely wish it does not happen to anyone, but there is something called the natural history, right? If one thing happens, if an insult happens, the next thing is going to happen unless we have a stop to the habit which we are doing.
You've mentioned that it takes about 3 weeks for the liver to work on itself, repair itself,
Yeah.
and even to grow like 70% even when you remove it. So 3 weeks is it good enough for any normal, healthy person who thinks that, okay, I don't have any bad habits, but I just want to get my, liver, give that time to let it repair itself or whatsoever. Is there any specific things? Because end of the day, as you said, we would like to feel better by doing certain things. Like I'll have hot water, so all is good with me. So that kind of satisfaction, just a reassurance that I am doing something good. So, but not just for the satisfaction, but is there any ways that I can do to amplify this or give the liver that 3 weeks, that time to, repair itself?
When I said 3 weeks for regeneration and not for repair. Repair is an ongoing process.
It always does it. Okay.
Yeah, it always does it.
Okay.
I mean, there will be some. I could have some damage in the liver now, and it repair itself automatically. Cells will die over a period of time, and it will. These dead cells are removed and new cells are formed.
Okay.
So the repair happens
All the time.
automatically and all the time. But if you were to say, for example, if someone's got fatty liver disease, they come and see me. It is a process. It takes a long time for things to get repaired, right? So, and it's a lifestyle change. It has to be a lifestyle modification.
Not just for
Right.
like 3 weeks
Not
or 5 weeks.
just for 3 weeks, right? It is like people consume alcohol on a regular basis, and then they very intermittently go to Sabrimala saying that they'll have that 2 months of off alcohol,
Intermittent
and then
fasting.
intermittent fasting. So all these things won't work. You can't cheat your body.
Yeah.
The body knows what it's doing, right? So it's an ongoing process. No, it has to start from day one, and just because end of the day we should not be diseased at 60, 65. Our lifespan now, which is increasing. Our mothers and fathers are living up to late 80s, right? We have to lead a healthy life.
Yeah.
Right? If health is lost, something is lost, right? I always give an example of how we protect our cars, yeah, mobile phones. Mobile phones. Take example of mobile phone. No, I'm sure you've got a mobile phone. You've
Yeah.
got a case which covers it so that
Yeah.
if it falls, it doesn't break.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got a tempered glass on it,
Yes.
yeah, so that it doesn't scratch,
Yes.
right? But what have we done for a body today, right? We've got one body to live, correct? Mobile phone, if it breaks off, I'm sure you can get another one. If you hit your car and gets damaged, you can get another one. Still, you have an insurance on it. Still, every annually you go for an annual health check for your car,
Yeah.
oil, this, that, whatever, everything's being checked. What are we doing for our body? Nothing, right? So we give importance to inanimate stuff, right? We have only one body to live. We have only one liver to take care of. We have only one brain. We have only one heart. Of course, all these things can be replaced with a transplant. There's no doubt about it. But we should not go towards that, because if you see, 75% of liver disease is preventable today.
Yeah.
Liver transplant is the most expensive surgery we can do. Liver transplant is the most difficult surgery we can do, right? And it takes such a long time, so much pressure on the family, so much pressure on the patient itself. So much resources is required to turn a patient around. Okay, so not many people have got that facility, financial, physical, social support, to get themselves sorted out, right? So I think that is quite important. So we have to. It's a process. It has to start from today, and it's keep go on. You can have cheat days. I'm not saying you should be just be a Swamiji and just sitting eating leaves and all these things. Yeah, so you can have good days, bad days. Not a problem, but anything in moderation is always good.
So, when we spoke about habits, it's very clear that building a sustainable lifestyle and sticking to it for a long term, it's more like for a lifetime, would eventually help us not just with the liver, but overall health, we can say. But when it comes to mental health, so mental health is mostly about emotions, how we feel things. And emotions like stress, or if there is any other emotions that could have an impact on liver, what are those things?
There is no scientific evidence to suggest that stress directly affects the liver. I'm very sure it would affect indirectly, but I would say the other way around. No, someone with liver disease will have a lot of stress. No, someone with liver disease will go through a lot of emotions. Not only the patient but the family as well, right? So, what does stress do? It probably increases your blood pressure and increases certain hormonal changes in the body. I have to admit that I'm not aware that it would directly affect the liver, right? So if the BP goes up, maybe it would cause some minor damage, but definitely not a long-term damage. But 100% someone with liver disease goes through a lot of turmoil, right? Because it causes a lot of trouble in the family. you know Treatment of liver disease is so expensive these days, unfortunately. Okay, we are working hard to see how we can bring the cost down, but as I said, it takes about 15-20 years for any liver to get damaged, be it by fat or alcohol or virus. So during that process, what happens is the other organs get damaged as well, right? So to manage someone with liver disease, it's a very difficult thing. Only specialists can manage these things. So in that process, of course, mentally they are so disturbed. Of course, there are one or two conditions where what we call hepatic encephalopathy, where the liver fails to perform certain important functions, and certain chemicals like ammonia affect the brain, and they can talk irrelevantly. They can forget things. People can time and again people come and tell me, oh, he gets angry so often. The relatives come and tell me. The wife comes and tells me the husband gets angry so often, right? So all these things can happen. Of course, as the disease progresses, they can even slip into coma. Apart from that, it's a huge. It's, as I said, it's a huge financial drain on the family. Of course, the government is doing a lot of help these days, but it's not enough, right? The upper middle class, or no, they can afford all these things, but the chunk of the people are in the lower middle class and the lower class. So for them, it's a huge hit. I mean, they would probably, hard earned money they would have spent on alcohol over the last 10-15 years, and now the next 15 years they will spend on managing liver disease, of course, and transplantation of required. So that puts a lot of stress, domestic issues, within the family, social issues in the family. So all these things will add up, and of course it adds a lot of stress in any. Of course, stress is part of any disease, more so I think in liver disease.
Okay. So there's another very trending thing that's happening apart from detoxification or these kind of things is the supplements.
Yeah.
And I have known personally as well in the family or friends that they keep popping pills.
Yeah.
You've got a small pain, you take Dolo 650. They don't even go for like a normal 250 paracetamol.
Yeah.
They would just pop pills for
Yeah.
nothing. So while these supplements or taking medicines way too often, way too many, it affects liver.
Oh, it does. Certainly. So, of course, I think there are two things which you said. One is self medication, the other is supplements, right? Supplements can be in the form of tablets, powders. I mean, there are gym goers who'll want more protein in them. They'll say whey. Of course, that comes with added steroids, so on and so forth. Of course, I go to the gym every day, and we have a team of 5, and I've dissuaded them from having any of this stuff. Why? Because I have seen enough number of people who have developed liver problems secondary to supplements. Okay, there are hundreds and hundreds of whey protein preparations available, hundreds and hundreds of muscle building preparations available in the market today. Nothing is tested, nothing is validated. Okay, and there are also scientific papers today which has been published. Okay, which has tested all these supplements, right, and said they are waste of a time. Okay, they don't give the amount of protein which is prescribed on it. Okay, so I don't think it is a right thing to have these supplements. Natural supplements are fantastic. Okay, we should, eggs, if you're eating non-vegetarian, egg whites has got so much protein in them. Chicken, fish, any white meat is fantastic. All right, if you don't take non-vegetarian, you can have your pulses, your dal, your paneer, your milk, your tofu, your butter beans, soya beans, double beans, so on and so forth. So many options are there.
But this is easy. I think this is why people get into it. I'm like, I don't want to cook, or I don't want to, take, because I can't possibly eat that much of paneer to,
Yeah.
get that much of protein intake. So I think the whey protein is way too much that I personally, I don't like the smell or the taste. So I've never got into it. So thank God for it. But I've known a lot of people who go to gym. They'll be in the gym,
Yeah.
like, they're shaking the bottle and then just like gulping it down. So is every whey protein dangerous or not useful at all?
I wouldn't say that. Neither have I've done a study on it, but I've known papers being published, which has said that most of the stuff which we get locally here in India is not great. Right? Of course, I'm very sure there are some FDA approved stuff which we have access to. which can cause good. But you see, as I said earlier, anything in moderation is good, right? And the problem is that when we go overboard, when you're over enthusiastic on muscle building, then you start taking your hormone injections, hormone tablets, so on and so forth, which will definitely add to the damage, right? Why I'm very strong about this is that I've seen enough number of young people, come with alteration in their liver function test, right? Because they've been taking supplements. You stop the supplements, in probably a month or 6 weeks, everything comes back to normal, right? So I think it's just that I've seen it, and I want people to follow it, right? Because at some point the liver will get damaged over a period of time.
And I'm sure this is the pattern that you also see in your patients day in and day out. The obesity and alcohol and, too many supplements or too much of oil, junk food, and lot many things are probably, how much would you say that this is the percentage of patients that I see is because of these lifestyle?
I told you earlier that 75% of the liver disease is is um is preventable, right? So, alcohol is the most common cause of liver disease. I've said this in another talk, and then there are a lot of critics about this. Okay, unfortunately, they don't see liver patients. I see liver patients day in and day out, and anyone who deals with liver disease, a doctor will tell you alcohol is the first and the main cause for patients' admissions into hospital these days. Number one. Number two is, as I said, fatty liver disease, right? It is quite common, especially in our side, our part of the world, because we are predominantly carb eaters, rice all the way, sugar, we have take so much of sugar in various forms. That is the second thing. Third thing is, of course, third most important killer in our part of the world is viral hepatitis, virus. Okay, again, a preventable disease. You just need a vaccination for these viruses, because this viral hepatitis today data suggests that it kills about 15 lakh people around the world every year. Every year, 15 lakh die secondary to either viral hepatitis B or C, which is more than the deaths caused by tuberculosis, malaria, or AIDS. Awareness is not there, right? So these are three main causes of liver disease in our country. And of course, apart from that, there are metabolic problems and so many other new things are coming up. Genetic diseases are running in the families are there. But these three things are definitely will be add to about 75% of the liver work which we do.
One last question that I want to ask you, because when patients come to you with not so much damage that it's basically reversible, but do you see that they go back to their old habits again?
So that is a good question, because most of them. So when I see someone with liver disease, of course we see various grades in liver disease, right? When someone who's got cirrhosis liver, which is liver is shrunken, which means it's damaged, and they really need a transplant. At that point, they probably would stop, right? Because they know that no, the next is death, right? Unless we transplant these people, they are going to end up. But what we've seen is, say, the liver is of normal shape and size. It's just that he's been drinking, and there's some alteration in the liver function test. He stops drinking, it gets back to normal, okay, and then a few months later he'll go back to drinking, right?
And then comes back again.
And then comes back again. I mean, we see this over and over and over again. That is because of the peer pressure, social pressure, I would say, right? See, if we are strong enough, okay, we can completely stop all these things.
But are we justifying by saying peer pressure or societal pressure? Because end of the day, when I see, because it's not black and white, but given that when there is pressure, there's lot many things that could benefit us to work or deal with it. But why do we always get into these kind of habits that we know for sure is going to harm us?
Yeah, that's because the brain tells us this is a pleasure seeking thing, go for it.
Easy fix.
Easy fix, right? So people think, so why do people drink? I ask, why do you drink, right? So they drink, they think that it gives them pleasure. Unfortunately, it's the other way around. No, there is enough evidence to suggest that depression is caused by alcohol. Chemicals are secreted in the brain which causes depression, right? There is a scientific evidence for that, right? So someone who's sad, they drink, they'll become more sad. It's not going to elevate their mood, right? So it is say someone feels that, oh, I've lost a lot of money in my business, so I went to drinking, and you've lost more money now again, right? And then you come to a hospital and you're going to spend more money, right? So it's people don't think the right sense, because they are not right frame of mind, and of course they probably are not in a right frame of mind to take an advice also. Okay, so now if you notice, with someone, if there's a birth in the family, people drink. If there's a death in the family, people drink. Marriages, people drink. Divorces, people drink, right?
Getting into a relationship, they drink.
They drink. Getting out of a relationship, they drink, right? So it's a go-to thing for being happy or being sad.
So what is it actually helping you? Is it there? It is helping you to get rid of stress, or is it helping you to feel the happiness even more? You cannot do both.
It cannot.
Possibly.
It cannot do both.
Yeah.
I don't think it's doing anything.
Yeah.
It's only damaging the individual, damaging the family, damaging the society. Productivity goes down. You know, so there's so many issues with alcoholism, with which people are just reluctant to accept. So I think it's a huge menace, and if we don't put our foot down today, and the government should take enough steps to curb alcohol. There's so many ways of doing it. The government should give guidance on the amount of alcohol to take. The Western world has got the all the major health bodies in the Western world have given guidelines as to how much you can drink in a day, what is the period of interval, drink-free interval you should give, so the liver should recover itself. The liver will metabolize most of it. Liver will metabolize most of it. Okay. But the problem in our country is the moderation is not known. Number one. Number two is, I know you didn't like the word when I said peer pressure, but I think if you sit with a group of friends, right? If you just say, I'm going to stop with one drink, I'm 200% sure the guy next to you is going to say, no, I've come all the way. Come on, let's have one more drink and we'll close with this.
Yeah.
Right? And then by that time, what happens after your second drink, there's mental cloudiness and you lose control, and then you go for the third and the fourth and the fifth.
And you don't even realize how much you drink. Yeah.
So how many times we see this over and over again?
Yeah. Does it frustrate you as because it's your profession and you tell them, don't do it, you're going to die. And then doesn't it frustrate you?
There's only certain things we can do, right? Unfortunately, of course, as much as it frustrates me when I treat a handful of patients and they get better, or when I transplant these patients, they get better. It gives so much gratitude and joy and happiness, and because the relationship between the doctor and the patient, as far as liver disease is concerned, it's a long period. It does not happen, even weeks. It runs in months and years. And once we transplant, we are associated with them for life. They come back for follow-ups, for medications, so on and so on and so forth. So, as much as of course, you're right, it does give a lot of pain to see so much bad happening in the society these days. But at least we are in a position today to save at least a small portion of these people and get them back to normal.
And the more I work with my clients on this, right, habits and lifestyle changes or whatsoever, there's one conclusion that I've made. Probably I'll just give you with one analogy, is that in when a thief escapes, or from a prison, or jail, or just escapes from the scene, the police and the people who wants to catch them, they look for the most frequently visited places or mostly known and familiar places
Yeah.
for that person. The only reason, and they catch them almost all the time,
Yeah.
is because this is happening because we feel safer in the familiar zones,
Yeah.
even if we know that is harming us. For emotionally feeling that safe time, that particular short period. And I think for habits also, I feel it's pretty much the same thing. You've left the habit, you've worked so hard about it, but the moment something stressful comes into the picture, the immediate thing that you're going to run is that, because somewhere you felt the sense of relief over there. I think that's one of the biggest understanding that I've got. The more I work with people about this, the more I know for sure this is it. And that is where they are very scared to even try the new things that people are saying this will definitely help you. Give it some time, keep doing it. Do meditation. If you're stressful, get into the meditation. But people don't know that, and they struggle with that unfamiliar things, like my thoughts are
Yeah.
not good, so I cannot sit on the meditation. But the immediate thing that they would go for alcohol.
Yeah.
So it's really great how you have put a lot of insightful knowledge and also made it very, very clear there is nothing else apart from exercising
Yeah.
and building the lifestyle. There is nothing else.
Yeah.
No amount of supplements, no amount of detoxification, or no amount of, knowledge or any new thing that's going to come into the market or into the picture is going to help you, rather than basic things that we've been known for. I don't know, from the beginning of the technology and medicine and everything, that lifestyle changes is the only way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
It's a pleasure.
And it's really insightful. I never knew that liver could do so many things.
Yeah.
I never knew that. Yeah, that's really great. Thank you so much, sir.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Super.